What is up, everybody? It is Sensei Bruh, and we are back with another banger. Today we are going to be flying the 14.0 monster. This thing is absolutely freaking redonkulous. No lie to the mandoms. None of that. This thing is kind of bonkers. I'm not gonna lie though, I literally played, so I'm gonna throw out my stats for the session. I think I want to say I played less than 10 games. I'm not sure. But it felt like every single fucking one of them were up tiers. Not gonna lie to y'all. Not gonna lie. But still, that did not stop me. I had like a 7.5 KD. It was like, I don't know. If I was keeping track in my head right, somewhere around there, 7.5, 8, maybe something like that. But anyways, you guys know the drill by now. We're gonna be going over my top tier ARB gameplay. I'm just gonna be doing some voiceovers, giving some commentary, tips where I can, things that I should have done differently maybe. And just all that type of stuff, you know. But with that being said, we're just going to jump right into it. It's game one here. So as you guys can see, we just took our time climbing up. We got to a decent altitude. Typically, I actually go a little bit higher. I'm slightly low. But with that being said, we did see some, contrails up top. You guys can see them right now on the screen. That's what I'm kind of looking at. You also see that I went defensive pretty early on. Like that's a pretty aggressive, that's a very passive line that I took there. And it's simply because of the fact that I saw some missile cons coming towards me, and I decided, you know what, I don't really want to deal with his missiles. I don't want to have to, bleed off a shit ton of speed in the notch. So I knew they were coming at me, and so I just kind of got into the notch early on, and that's what you see me doing right now. I'm defending that missile that I'm pretty sure the missile contrail was, on me, and I guessed right. As you guys can see though, the missile, or my RWR, sorry, went silent, and the missile kind of started going behind me, which means that I defeated the missile, and I can kind of turn in now. And really the biggest problem that I have with the Mirage 2005F is the radar. I'm not going to lie. Like, the radar itself is actually good, like in terms of signal strength and all that type of stuff. It's actually extraordinarily strong. My biggest gripe with it is the search, like the TWS search angle. As you guys can see right now, it's on 30 by 3 degrees. Like 3 degrees vertically. That is freaking tiny. I have to like manually scan the whole, sky practically whenever I wanna try to pick somebody out with the radar. And that's really just my biggest problem with the aircraft right now. I would say other than that, bro, it's literally phenomenal. The Mikas, the flight model, the amount of countermeasures, all that, missile loadout. It is a little bit on the lighter side. However, you do get Mikas, so I think that makes up for it 100%. Plus, like what I do typically. Is I play pretty reactionary on the M2K. I don't try to go for these like crazy busted long range shots, even though I think in one of the games I actually hit a pretty long shot with the Mika. But I typically try to play on the more reactionary side, so I'm a little bit more defensive, and I'm just kind of waiting until people lock me and fire me. And I think those are the Mikas that I sent that are a little bit longer. Like as you guys can see, those 30 kilometers Mikas there. You guys can also see here that I'm switching different scan modes, and I'm doing that because of the fact that I have a different scan altitude, right? So rather than 3 degrees, it's 5 degrees, and so I was able to hold a data link lock on both of the same people, both of the people at the same time, and that's really what I was going for there, so that my Mika had a better chance of hitting. We got the first one. However, this guy did not get hit by my Mika. He did a good job notching it and defeating it. So what we're doing now is we're just kind of sitting on his 6. We're trying to, he's turning in now. I see on my radar. It looks like he's turning in. So what we're going to do is we get ready to fire a missile. We fired the missile, and now we're going defensive because I know that he's going to look for a lock on me to try to counterfire. So I'm keeping him right on my gimbal limit, trying to guide in my missile with TWS, while he defeated my missile there again. Good job by this guy. So I send out another one, and you guys can see right after I sent it out, I get into the notch, right? I went defensive. And you guys can see this is pretty simple. Simple notch. Both of them bit on the chaff. You guys could visually see them bite on the chaff there, and so that's how I know I defeated the missile. And we're good to go. And he ate my missile. I would have been ready to counterfire again. I defeated his missiles. I was turned in and everything. He was a little bit upset in the chat, not gonna lie. But yeah, that was a pretty solid interaction right there. You can see this thing even in a full up tier. Technically I guess not a full up tier, but even in 14.7 lobbies, this thing can kind of hang with the big dogs. Like I'm doing pretty solid against the 14.7 Eurofighters, Su-30 SM2s, Rafales. This thing is an absolute freaking monster, bro. It's also one of my favorite planes of all time. The M2Ks have always had a special place in my heart. I think they're just really gorgeous aircraft. And yeah, We have 2 missiles out of the way. This guy was really close. I'm kind of surprised I got him. And the one down low obviously should hit. Yep, that one hit. And then this F-15, he actually ended up evading that Mika on accident. And he's been hit, but I'm just going to go finish him off because I did get hard locked by him right there, as you guys can see. So I didn't want him to deadman me. So I just got a little bit closer, flung a magic 2 at him, and it was simple. I'm pretty sure this kind of wraps up game 1. Yeah, because the Typhoon got the other guy over there. I finished the guy off, and that was the last enemy. So that was a very solid game there. It was a 4-piece. Pretty simple. Like you guys saw, I didn't really, aside from that one jousting interaction, I didn't really have to do anything crazy defensive. Like it was just the beginning BVR joust, and then that interaction with the F-15, I think it was. But yeah, that wraps up game 1, and I'll see you guys in game 2 here shortly. Alrighty, and with game 2 in the Mirage 2005F, we are on an EC map. For those who don't know what that is, it's just a big map. I decided to speed up through the beginning so you guys didn't have to sit there and watch, but a little bit of a cockpit tour on the M2K here. Dude, seriously, one of my favorite aircraft of all time. Very, very nice looking aircraft. But right now we're just kind of, beginning BVR, so we're climbing up. I get to around 8,000 to 9,000 kilometers in altitude, which is around like 27,000 to 35,000 feet. If you're using, feet instead and stuff like that. But right now we're just kind of throwing these guys on the gimbal limit, and obviously you guys can see that I'm taking a passive line because once again this is an up tier. As I was saying earlier, bro, seriously, I think like 80% of my games were up tiers. It's kind of annoying. I was really hoping for some down tiers because seriously, the Mirage 2000 just freaking stomps in down tiers. But I didn't get such luck this morning. Literally what I did is I woke up, we streamed last night. It was a solid stream. I was up late, I'm not gonna lie. I woke up, we went out, I was using the glassware per se, and yeah, it was a solid morning, and now I got some good game footage as well. I'm currently obviously editing this, and yeah, we'll be streaming Resident Evil later today as well. Resident Evil just dropped, but as you guys can see, we're just defending with missiles right now. Like, the early game for me is pretty chill because I take it a little bit more passive. But guys, check this out. Look at my RWR right now. So what I'm doing, what I just did with my aircraft, right, is I changed some altitude. And let's look at how much chaff I'm dropping. Like, I'm doing bursts of like 2 to 3 every couple seconds, right? And what I'm doing is I'm using my cue from yesterday's video. So if you remember, right, the crest of the M, where the M intersects in the middle, that's what I call the crest of the M. You put that basically on your horizontal, like 90 degrees, either on the right or left side. Line that up with the horizontal plus, and bang. So I did pick these guys up on the radar up at my altitude, way out to the left. So he flung out a Mika, and I literally just instantly lost him on radar. I thought he dove down or something. And so you'll see me like swap to different search modes to try to find him. So I was in TWS head on. I was like, okay, maybe he's not head on. So I swapped to normal TWS there. I still couldn't pick him up. Eventually I do get him. Like there he picked up, but he had notched the missile, so I don't know what he did initially. He might have been just like in an aggressive notch, and so I picked him up, fired it, and then I instantly lost him. But anyways, he's 9 clicks out, so we fire out another Mika right now, and you guys see, look at that. So I fired off the Mika, and I instantly get into my defense, and I also, boom, right there, guys. Did you see that? If you were watching, I pulled out my HMS, and I was ready to get another hard lock just in case he had somehow defeated that missile, whatever. So I was ready to counterfire, given the opportunity if he had defended that missile. As you guys can see, gripping under me, quick counterfire there, HMS lock. We sent a Mika at him. I'm spooling up the Magic 2 just in case. Obviously, he misses the Mika, which he did not, or the Mika did not miss, sorry, if he evaded the Mika. And we also are getting F-15 pings on our right there. We saw him. He rendered in for me before he got spotted, so I got a quick HMD lock Mika. And guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is seriously what the M2K excels at. So it was a quick, simple HMD, like high off boresight launch, and I was straight into the defense. I don't know if you guys saw that, but his AMRAM basically got notched almost immediately. And so you could just kind of watch it, like literally just, I dropped some altitude, so it just kind of flew right by me. But that was kind of the big go-getter of this match. The rest of the match was pretty calm. As you can see, there's an F-18 down there, but I'm speeding this up just because I didn't end up firing any missiles at him. I was kind of waiting to see. I think he's in a dogfight with one of my teammates, but of course, a few of my teammates came in to help my teammate that was in the dogfight. He got cleaned up. And now we're just kind of looking for the last guy. I thought he might have been by the airbase, so that's why you see my radar is looking over there. And I was literally about to pop a blind hunt, but one of my teammates did it for me. So, you know, one of the guys, I thought there was only one guy left, but it ended up being the fact that there was two, and so one of them was way over there. And you guys see I you know, reorient myself to go chase him down because I was going to go hawk him down, but I got an RWR ping right there. F15 on my 6. So what I do instead, rather, is instead of going for the guy at 60 clicks out, I'm just going to go turn around and go for the guy in the airbase because I still have a decent amount of fuel. I have 2 Mikas, 2 Magic 2s. I'm in a good spot to make a play. And so that's what I did. I decided to go back over for that F15. I was looking at the map, to find the airbase so I could point my radar at him. We all obviously find him. We're also using the RWR to help locate him, triangulate his position. Bang, he's on the runway. He's just taken off. And so I also speed this part up here too, just because I'm just trying to get the missile into the Nez range so I can fling it out. But I eventually send one out, I believe, right around now. Yep. And he fired one at us, but I know the missile's obviously really far away, so it's going to take some time for it to reach me. So I decided to hold the data link and send another missile at him, and then we're notching now. So this is the notch. We're defending the missile. I don't know if you listened, but if you were, right, you could have heard me speed up the deployment of my chaff. And I did that because of the fact that, as I was nearing the notch or in the notch, I wanted to increase the amount of chaff I dropped so that way there was a higher chance that the missile bit on it. Rather than doing the, 1 to 2 chaff every couple seconds type of a thing. It was a close range, more aggressive notch. And yeah, that's why I decided to speed up how much chaff I was deploying. But anyways, that wrapped up game 2. This was game number, I don't know what it was in terms of actual game number, but for the video, this is game number 3. And yeah, this is another very, very solid game. The beginning BVR, as always, guys, climb up and go to the left, right? It's simple shit, pretty easy to do, doesn't take a whole lot of effort. And yeah, I cut a little bit of the climbing, but you guys can see I'm at 8 to 9K, just like I say, I'm sitting at around 9K. I do that because of the fact that contrail height is actually around 9K. It's a little bit above 9K for some maps. Just depends on the map you're playing. But for example, you guys can see those contrails up there. I don't think I'm contrailing right now. I'm pretty sure on Sinai, contrail is a little bit higher, like 95, 9600. I'm sitting at 9400, 9500. So I might be starting to contrail now, but it doesn't really matter to me too much because I can just drop back down under contrail. But you guys also see that we're defending a missile. And that missile's starting to kind of go behind us. And that's how I knew that I had defeated the missile, right? Obviously, you guys can hear my RWR silent, so another good sign that I had defeated the missile there as well. But right now, we're just kind of messing around with the radar. And this is where that really skinny, search angle comes into play, is what I was talking about earlier. You guys can see that those green bars represent what my radar is scanning currently. And so you guys can see that it's literally just one thin line. And so what I have to do is I have to continuously pitch up and down my radar, tilt. So that way I can see the whole sky. And what I do is I section it off. I go section by section, and I scan the altitude in order to ensure that there's no enemies there. Because the M2K actually doesn't have a very fat scan angle in terms of height. And sometimes those are a lot of those top tier aircraft have really, really solid tall scanning radar search scan angles, and it makes it a lot easier to fly the aircraft. M2K doesn't really do that. And so sometimes those longer range engagements can be a little bit hard to deal with if you don't know what you're doing. This is where I also kind of try to preach, working your radar. If you know how to work your radar, you're going to be in a lot better situation than a lot of the other players. But we have been fired on by the F-15 up contrailing. You guys can see him where my HMD Q is. So we just notched his missile there. We got on my HMS. We're going to fling a Mika out at him. He's also turning to commit. You guys can see he sent a missile at us, but it's okay because I'm holding him on the gimbal limit, and this should be a very simple notch. It actually ended up being the case that missile that he just fired, I think, missed the Mika, and you saw it kind of go to Narnia. If you guys rewind, it's in the top right of the screen. It just kind of went, I don't know, who knows where. But there's a guy 23 clicks out, a little bit higher up, so we're going to send a Mika out at him. Honestly, if I remember, I think I actually didn't mean to fire that missile because I thought he was kind of far out, but he was still in the Nez, so it's not necessarily a bad shot. It just might not hit. But as you guys can see, though, he is firing now a couple missiles at us. He fired 2 missiles off at us. Those are R-77s of some sorts. I'm only getting 1 RWR ping, so I'm assuming one of them was like an ET or something. I don't know. I saw 2 missile diamonds though, and unless one of them wasn't on me. But guys, this next part here was pretty intense. So that Mika, or that Su-30 notched the missile, and so we got an F-15 really close. High off bore sight Mika into the notch. High off bore sight Mika into the notch. You see it, missile bites on the chaff. We have a lot of people on us down under. The one on the left. 2. I decided to notch the missile first to defend any missiles coming at me before I counterfired. But as you can see, we got the high off bore sight launch. Bang. Defending the missiles. Defending the missiles. Su-30 SM2, he's going to overshoot. He sent a fucking R-73 or whatever the hell. It was worthless, not going to lie. We get the high off bore sight launch once more. Mika's putting in some crazy work. I sent a Magic 2 at him as well. Now it's just a Super Hornet. Unfortunately, I don't have any more Mikas for high off bore sight, so I'm just kind of staying in the notch and I'm getting in the notch, staying in the notch. We're just kind of pre-chaffing, pre-flaring. Unfortunately, he does end up getting me with a 9M. That's the 9M right there. I didn't really have the flares. I tried to swap. The 9M side aspect is really hard to defeat. And unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. Just kidding. We got a game 4. Hope I didn't prank you too hard there, guys. And we are here with game 4, the final game. This was it's a longer game, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I think the full thing was like 11 minutes long, but I trimmed it down for you guys, so don't worry. I'm trying to get some cinematic shots there. That's probably honestly gonna be, I might use that for the thumbnail. I don't know, we'll see. But anyways, yeah, some good sessions in the M2K. Like I was saying, it's really solid at 14-0 in the matchmaker now. Look at that profile, very awesome. But yeah, I also wanted to take this time to thank everybody who's watching. This is the second ever flippin' YouTube video, and I really appreciate all your guys' support. I do want to know though, guys, like moving forward, do you guys want to see like dev server stuff? Do you guys want to see like tutorials maybe? Do you guys want to continue seeing this like top tier gameplay? Specific aircraft? What do you guys think? I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. I really like the feedback. Don't, if you think this is awful, just let me know. I'd rather know that, to be honest with you. I want to know that stuff. Yeah, because, it'll help me going forward with, making videos and all that stuff. But anyways, we are climbing, like usual. You guys should know the drill by now. Up and to the left, I'm at around 8 to 9K. And check it out. We got a missile on us. I don't actually know if this was on us or not. You guys can already see it. The missile's starting to drift behind slightly. So much so that I was even typing in chat. So I really wasn't worried about the missile there. Like kinetically, the missile just doesn't have enough energy to hit us. So I kind of ignored it. I was dropping some chaff earlier thinking that it might have a little bit more energy and stuff like that, but I believe it was an older missile from somebody else. So we just let it go. I do see an FATN on my left on my RWR, and he ends up actually firing a missile. You guys can see I'm bringing over my TWS. He fired a missile. What I decided to do instead was, like in my M2K fashion, I swapped over to HMS, and I just kind of am going to play reactionary. Like, he's shooting a couple missiles. He shot 2 AMRAMs at me. I notched 1. There's another one on me there. You see it 5 clicks out. Missile diamond disappeared. So now that's what we're notching right now. You guys can see or hear that my chaff deployment's, sped up. When I was, the missile was a little bit closer, I needed to do a little bit more of an aggressive notch, but luckily we got the finish there. He was already, I believe, crit by the F-15 or severed or something. I don't know. But then I also saw this guy up contrailing, and it looks like he's coming towards me. So I was trying to scan him. I was having some difficulties there, but I finally brought it down, and there I was able to scan him. So we got another missile away out on that guy. I believe it's a Su-30. I think it ended up being a Su-30 SM2. But we're just holding the data link block on this, guys. And look, this is exactly why you do it. Because you'll see, I believe there are instances in here where he's notching the missile, but he's not notching me, so my data link is still updating. Actually, never mind. It looked like the Mika just did everything for me. W Mika, and there he goes. Ready, bang. Nice. So we were just holding him on the gimbal limit, though, just in case he did fire at me. I was ready to counterfire. So if, for example, let's say he fired at me, what am I going to do? I'm going to fire another missile on him to keep, that pressure on him, right? So he can't just fly straight at me. And then I'm going to notch his missile. I'm going to defend his missile. Once I defeat the missile, I'm going to recommit, turn back in, sling another missile, and repeat until he's gone. Or until we don't have Fox 3s, because sometimes that happens as well. But I sped up this part here, just a little intermediary process of the game. I found this guy. He looked like a threat to my teammates. He's coming in pretty hot. He's within the Nez, so I was just waiting a little bit. I was tracking him, see what he was going to do, and it looks like he's turning onto my Eurofighter down there. So I sent out a missile on him, and we're just going to guide it in using the TWS here. I almost was a little bit worried that it was going to hit the Eurofighter in that little merge there that they had, but luckily it did not. It continued tracking the F-15E. So he went down, and if you guys remember, I saw this Super Hornet out in front, and so that's what we're just soft locking right now. We're low-key hawking him down. I actually didn't know. I would have probably fired the missile if I knew that the Eurofighter was closer. I thought he was still at the airbase. I'm not going to lie. I didn't know that he was actively jousting the Super Hornet. So, had I have known that, I probably would have fired a missile here. But I happened to fire it as soon as he died from the Eurofighter, because then I was like, what the hell? How did he die already? And then, yeah, I checked to see, and the Eurofighter was like, 10 kilometers away from us. So he was really, really close. But, yeah. That ended up being the game there mostly. So, but I don't know if you guys saw a little bit earlier, right when I fired that missile on the F-18, I got a radar ping from the Su-30 and a J-39, which is a Gripen. And so you guys can see that the Su-30 SM-2 took out one of my Eurofighters. I honestly don't even know what happened here. Okay, so he took out another Eurofighter. Now I'm watching this in real time with you guys here. So I end up having to do a clutch here. So we ended up doing a 1v2 clutch to win the game. I was the last one alive, again, in a 14-7 game, because this thing was literally just up tier central for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, because honestly, at 14-0, I was playing a little bit earlier. I've played a couple sessions in it since the BR changes, and I've gotten a lot of down tiers before, but today was literally just up tier after up tier after up tier. As you guys can see, though, we are at 3 kills right now, and there was 2 of them left. I don't know if you could see it unless you paused it, but I'll go ahead and tell you. There was 2 of them left. I know from already playing the game that it's a Gripen, as you guys can see on my RWR, and then they also have a Su-30 SM-2. So I thought I was going to go back to base, but then I was like, I kind of hesitated. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take one of these guys on. If they want to take me on, I still got 2 Mikas and 2 Magic 2s and a decent amount of fuel. So I turned to recommit. I tried to chase him down for a little bit, but I could not freaking find him on my radar. And so you'll see later on, I eventually just, turn back, go back to base, because I'm like, all right, if I'm going to actually clutch, if I want to win this 1v2, I need my missiles. And so I decided I'm trying to switch to different search modes. Like I'm on the PDV head-on right now, as opposed to just TWS and stuff like that. I'm trying to pick them up, trying to see what I can do, and I didn't find frickin' Schneike. So I eventually just give up pretty soon here, I believe. Yeah, I think we're turning back to base right now. So I just gave up. I'll make them come to me. I want to at least be a little bit closer to my airfield. If I'm going to clutch against the Su-30 and the Gripen E, I'm going to want to stay a little bit closer to my airfield, use my AA where I can. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're following me. Like my RWR is silent here, so I'm just kind of still looking behind me just in case that one of them is trying to sneak up using IRST or something like that. I do have Moz, so if I do get a missile on me, I would know. But we're just kind of heading into the airfield now. Gonna go for a landing, and you guys will see here that I actually did end up getting jumped. It was good to trust my instincts, because I was like, if I was one of these guys, I would try to follow me to the airbase. And you'll see here that when I'm coming in for the landing, my ITOs are going to fire a missile at the enemy, and that is what's going to be my, alert that they actually were following me. So I went gear down here, and you can see the ITO missile shot, and I'm like, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? I saw him rendered in. I don't know if you guys can see it on the screen right now. The ITO missile was following him. He was, a little bit higher than me. And I think he just had to dodge. I flared just in case he sent a 9M at me or like an ET or something. I don't know. I don't think he did. My Moz didn't go off or anything like that. But I decided, you know what? I don't want to risk it. So we're just going to send out those flares and hopefully they stop whatever it was. I'm just going to speed up the landing here. And I saw a really cool, or at least in my opinion, I thought this was a really cool shot here on the airfield with the canopy coming up. I thought that was really, really neat. But I also just speed this part up here, because it's literally me just rearming and then flying for like literally 100 kilometers until I fling off some Mikas to hopefully get the clutch. Not really hopefully. I'll give you guys a spoiler alert. I did win. And yeah. But you guys see we're taking off here. And I would like to say also, guys, we're going to be streaming Resident Evil later today. So if you'd like to tune in for that, that'd be big ups. And also, guys, thank you again. I know I literally said it earlier in the thing, but I really want to say thank you. A lot of this literally all of this actually, wouldn't be possible without your guys' support. And so please, like I said earlier, I really do want to know, what are your guys' thoughts? What should I like? how should I gear my content towards. I guess more so, what should I gear my content towards, actually, sorry. Or, like, do you guys want to see more of those TikToks on, like, just highlights, quick stuff like that? Or would you rather see full game videos like this, where I'm doing voiceovers and giving tips where I can, walking through my thought process and all that type of stuff? Because, I don't know, that'll just help me going forward, making videos. I really want to know what you guys are interested in, so that way I can put out the best content possible. As you guys can see, though, we have, you know, Su-30 SM2 just freaking crashed, which kind of pissed me off, I'm not going to lie. As you can see, ... I really wanted to hit the 1v2 in a joust, but unfortunately the Su-30 SM2 crashed, so now it is just a 1v1. You guys can see he's going back to his airfield right now, 55 clicks out. We're low-key hawking him down. I'm at 7k, starting to climb here. I'm at Mach 1.2. I eventually, I think towards the end, hit like Mach 1.7, Mach 1.8, I believe. And, you know, from that altitude, at that speed, the Mikas are literally just as potent as an AMRAAM. You know, like, they, if you get them fast and high, bro, they'll go for freaking ever, practically. Not actually, but in a real game sense, like, they're a lot better when you throw them up at altitude, where there's less drag and all that stuff, and obviously if you're going faster as well. Got another cockpit tour here, very beautiful with the lights too, bro, on the in the inside of the cockpit. You got the nighttime. Oh, also, guys, if you can't hear already, I kind of forgot to mention this earlier on in the video, but if you can't hear it, I'm running a new sound mod. I did get RCSM, and I also bought the IASM sound mod. Thank you to T Nebula for suggesting that. I wanted to try it out for some time now. I know RCSM updated with the major update, and I was like, you know what? Today's going to be the day. We're going to try it. So I ended up paying for the Patreon for the IASM radar sound mods, and then I got the RCSM compatibility pack. And yeah, I think it sounds freaking phenomenal. Unfortunately, no gunfights, no dogfights in this video. But, you know, the guns I thought sounded crazy good. The cannons, I should have said. The engines sound great. The flybys sound great. The radars also sound great. I'm not going to lie, I remember the OPEX has a really, really good, like, French RWR sounds, just because I know the guy who, you know, created OPEX, I think, is French, so he has a little bit more of a bias towards them. So the French vehicles might have been better, I think, in OPEX, but I think overall the RCSM one is freaking phenomenal. As you guys can see, though, we were just flinging off 3 Mikas. I flung out 3 of them. I'm just waiting to see if they hit. One of them did, and that was the game. We got him with a clutch there. I just stayed high, and I was trying to be wary of his airfield, too, because it is, like, right under me. But we got some nice cinematic shots, and I believe that ended up being a 4-piece for the clutch. We were also going to lose on tickets, too, so if I didn't get that guy, we would have lost the game. But anyways, with that being said, that's where we're going to end off on the video today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, and until the next one, peace, boys. Peace.